when you start a writing process and you think, you know what, I'm going to write for whoever. You write different. You write
Right.
different, and then you record it. You're trying to record it for that person, and then when it's finished, I lay it there. There was no artist. It's just me in my mind saying I'm doing it for.
Yes.
And then it's like, hey, you know what? It's nice. Let's keep this.
Awesome. Well, nice to meet you, Nelson. I appreciate your time.
Thank you. Nice to meet you too.
Awesome. So my name's Adam, and this podcast is about you and your journey in music, and we'll talk about the album you have coming out next week.
Perfect. Next month, indeed. It's a few more weeks to go.
Yeah, not much time. It's exciting.
Yes, sir.
Right on. Well, first off, you're born in Holland. Is that what I saw?
Yes, correct. I was
Okay.
born in Holland. Parents are from Cape Verde.
Oh, they're from Cape Verde. Okay. So what was it like did you go back and forth quite a bit or just stay in Holland or?
Now, I was born there, I stayed there. We went on vacation, started going on vacation when I was real young. And once I got the taste of, the islands, you always go back, it's like it's
Sure.
home.
That's awesome. Do you come from a musical household at all or creative household?
Most of my family is very, very creative. Um, my nieces play the violin, the strings. We have guitar players, we have singers. I always say, like in my family, I'm probably the worst musician with
You're
the
the
most
worst
success.
musician?
Yeah. Listen, my nieces, when they start singing, it's like they sing like Whitney Houston and stuff. It's like it's crazy, mind blowing.
Whoa. Have you ever had them on any of your records?
I did doing background. I incorporated them in my shows. Always trying to pull the family in.
That's awesome. That's really cool. I'm sure they were so stoked on that.
Yeah, for sure.
Are they fairly young? I know this is about you, but now I'm curious about your
Oh no,
nieces.
yeah, they in their 20s, 30s.
Okay.
But they've always been, on music, piano and whatnot. It all comes from my grandmother who was really into music. Like my grandmother was 70 something and she would tell me, hey, Pharrell got a new song out or Beyonce got this concert. You have to see it. I'm like, okay.
Whoa. So she was you said 70s and she's that hip to like
Yeah,
listen to music.
yeah. Like Beyonce and Pharrell were her favorite singers, and also artists called Joe from USA.
Okay. I don't know Joe, but that's rad. That she's into
Yeah,
Beyonce and Pharrell and stuff. And to be that hip at that old age and be like, hey, Nelson, you
exactly,
got to check out these artists.
exactly. And she would always say when she would see a big concert, she would always say like, "You guys need to do a concert like this." We were just getting started, and she was like, "You guys need to sell out arenas and stuff."
You're like, yeah, we'd love to do that.
We'd love to. We're not there yet.
Yeah. Has she seen you perform in a big stadium like that?
No, my grandma passed in 2008.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah, that's
No, it's okay. Yeah, thank you. But it's okay. I mean, when I did my first big show in 2013 in a Coliseum
mhm.
and recorded a DVD, like I dedicated it to her.
That's awesome. That is amazing. So she kind of
Yeah.
got you into music then?
Actually, no.
Oh,
Her sons, my uncles, grew up with my. I grew up living with my grandma half of the time because my mom had two jobs.
hmm.
So my uncle was a DJ. My
Oh,
uncle was a
okay.
DJ. I started carrying the records for him to the clubs, and I would
That's
always
cool.
hang out a little bit longer than I could because I was really young.
Hmm.
So he would always practice in the house. So the music comes from there. His brother was a producer. So the production side, I learned from him. We even had a point that we were like a duo in production where we used to produce for a lot of different people back in the days. So, but I learned everything there, like seeing, copying. I would always do everything my uncles did anyway. So, you know.
Wow, that's really awesome. So were you fairly young when you started, working with him or learning from him?
Yeah. I mean, we started first of all in a break dance group. They were doing break dance. I was doing break dance. They were doing the R&B dances. I was doing the R&B dances. Whatever
Mhm.
they did, I did. They created a group. I created my own group just to be okay. I want to be like you guys. You understand? So it's like
Mhm.
it's always trying to follow like the role models. They were kind of like a role model for me. So everything started there.
Wow. And what about an instrument aside from learning production? Did you pick up piano or anything like that as a kid?
I picked up piano, I picked up the drums, but basically just the basics, just for me to program my stuff. Just when I had an idea in my head, I would like start it on the keyboard, you know, then I started taking drumming lessons just because I love drumming and I used to program a lot of drums. Like back in the days, like when we were a production duo, I would do all the drums
Mhm.
and just lays that initial idea and he would finish it or vice versa. He would just start with a bass or with keys and I would lace the drums and we would write it together. I mean, that's how the whole process started.
Wow. At what age were you when you started writing like that?
Wow. This was the early 20s because before that it was a lot of dancing and a lot of just singing, you know.
Okay.
We started singing by coincidence because again we were dancers and then we started rapping and then somebody said like, hey, have you guys ever did a song singing? You just try it, you never know. We tried it and people loved it and we're like, you know what, let's take singing lessons. Then you start going taking singing lessons and now you're rolling into it slowly but surely.
Mhm.
And then when we released the first song as a group, people really loved it and we're like, wow, okay, because you're always comparing to other artists from USA, and Michael Jackson was the biggest artist, back then. So it's like if you don't sound like Michael Jackson in your head, it wasn't good. But
Sure.
we needed to learn to have an own sound, a particular sound of yourself. And luckily, my voice it has something to it that people gravitate to it. So it's like, so you find your own voice, which was the hardest part. But when I found my own voice, it's like then we just started going, you know.
Yeah. You actually worked on was in the new record with somebody that produced with Michael Jackson, right?
Ted Riley, yes, Ted Riley. I've always been a fan of Ted Riley because as a producer, as a songwriter, he was always just super dope. And I got to meet him in Cape Verde a few years back. He called me up for a studio session, a writing camp. And from that writing camp came my last single, actually, which is Black Butterfly. Yeah, I just released it last week.
Mhm.
I mean, it was amazing, man. Amazing working with him, working alongside his legend. Was work with Michael Jackson. Work with a lot of great artists, and just the humbleness that he has, and in teaching us, like, hey guys, maybe we can do it this way, and even listening to our opinion the way
Mhm.
he did, it was just beautiful.
Did you let him know that, when you were growing up, Michael Jackson's voice was kind of
Oh,
the,
come on, of course.
bar of what you were trying to shoot for?
Of course, of course, of course. We spoke a lot. That was the beauty of the camp. First, we got to know each other before we even started making music. So it's like he
Mhm.
was sharing his experience, me sharing my experience on and everything I've been through and listened to, and his productions and the way he created that New Jack swing sound. So he definitely knew, that I love that sound.
That's cool. I mean, what a honor to be able to work with somebody
Oh
that you
yeah,
looked up to for
for
so
sure,
long.
for sure, for sure.
You were talking about putting
Beautiful.
out, those early records and people telling you, yeah, you can rap, but you should start or,
Singing.
sing,
Yeah.
right? Was
Rap, I
that when
was
you were
bad.
in were you in Quattro was that the Quattro Plus group that you had formed?
Yeah. Yeah. I formed the group because of people saying like, hey, you guys should do something in singing.
Mhm.
And me, I was always a shy guy. I was really shy. I never wanted to be up in the front. Even now, like I'm not that guy I'm loud. I'm out there. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I
Mhm.
created the group just as a, we friends, we chilling, and it's always safe. You're traveling, the four of you, you four on stage. And we did one song just for fun again. And then people started asking, hey, when is the album coming out? We were like, what? We never thought about making an album. So now we
Wow.
got to do an album. So now I'm calling producers and seeing how we can do this, And we got two producers for the album. They did the whole project for us. I mean, we gave all the ideas, and that process was beautiful. For me, it was a learning process and how to do that. So from that, we did 4 albums. And then on the fourth one, I was already on different ideas because I was forming myself in the group. It was a safe space, and then to evolve as an artist myself, because we didn't know what we were doing. And in the group, it was all beautiful. It's a boys band, so it's like you roll with it. But
Sure.
we did mistakes that as a solo artist, it would have been like it's over.
Right. You guys all worked together and in this and growing together. And then at one point or towards the end of it, it sounds like you just were finding yourself and then went on
Exactly.
your solo career.
Exactly. So I released my solo career in 2007, and from that point on, it's always been like good. Thank God.
Was that a difficult decision to make? Like, were you guys still pretty strong at that point, or did you kind of start seeing the end of that, kind of point in your life?
Here's the thing: when you start a group as friends, you start a group as friends. You're just playing around, you're fooling around and stuff. And at the end of the day, eventually, it becomes more work.
Mhm.
And you could see that some of us were doing way more than the others.
Mm.
And that's when you start saying, like, guys, we need to do more this. Guys, we need to do more that. Guys, we need to practice more. Guys, we need to take singing lessons. And I was like, we good like this, you understand? So from that point on, I started giving them hints. And then I was like, guys, you know what? It's all good. I'm going to do my own thing.
Mhm.
But in doing so, I didn't leave them like immediately. I said, we're going to do one more album so you guys can get used to the idea. Still make some money.
Yeah.
And that's what we did. We did the album. In the middle of doing the last album with Quattro, I was already doing my own album as well on the side. And we parted as friends.
Wow. Yeah, because you put out your first solo album the same year, right? As the last.
Snow straight the year after.
Oh, the year after. Okay. So
Yeah,
that
but
last
the
was it
tour,
difficult? Kind of. Sorry. Go ahead.
no, I was saying the tour with the last album with Quattro was so intense that we traveled all over Africa for like almost a year. We got exhausted.
Oh, I bet. Oh my gosh. A year
Yeah.
on tour straight? Like, I can't even imagine.
No, not straight. I mean,
Oh,
it's you go back and forth, but it was a lot of in Angola, in Mozambique, in Cape Verde, and those in Portugal. Yeah,
yeah. But that's still, wow, that's a lot for sure.
yeah.
Was it difficult to kind of jump back and forth between what you were doing solo versus Quattro? And you did your first album, you had songs in English as well, right? And was most of Quattro not in English?
Most of Quattro was not in English. I actually started doing English. Let me see if I'm saying this correct. Yeah, on my
Okay.
solo, because a lot of people were saying, like in Holland, like, "Hey, we love the sound, we just don't understand it." And I
Oh,
was
got
like,
it.
and that was something that I told the group, "Hey guys, maybe we should start doing stuff in English." And they didn't really like fully feel that. So I was like, you know what? Okay, let's leave this card for when I go on my solo trip.
Mhm.
And on my solo trip, that's actually my biggest songs are in English.
Oh, yeah. I mean, well, that's wild, especially I mean, that first album you had, Kygo and Kesha, and, like, you had these huge artists on that
Yeah.
right out the gate.
Yeah.
I
I
mean, that's
mean,
crazy.
that was connect. You build connections with traveling. We
Mhm.
traveled the world. We met so many people, and most of the people were even starting as well. Like I got a song with DJ Hardwell, which is a huge producer now.
Mhm.
I mean, try to get a song with him now. It's gonna be way harder. Back then,
Yeah.
everybody was starting.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Was it when you went on your first like solo tour or even like putting out that first solo album, were you concerned at all or were nervous? Do you have an anxiety of the fact that, maybe it wouldn't land the way the Quattro stuff worked?
Oh, 100%. I was the lead singer in Quattro.
Hmm.
Me and Nilton, there's two guys. When I released my first solo album, people wondered, like, hey, where's this guy coming from? He's new. I was like, you listen, I've been in Quattro, I did 4 albums. They're like, oh, we never saw you.
Oh, wow.
That's why I say I'm always in the background. You know what I'm saying? So I'm always very chill. I sing, but then I'm chill, and everybody was loud. Everybody had the tattoos, the dreadlocks. They were the smoother guys. Let me put it this way. And me, I was more focused on the work. They were focused on like getting the girls and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
not all of them, just
The
some of
benefits
them.
of being a star.
Exactly. So when I did my first gig, yeah, I was very, very nervous. I was like, wow, if people didn't even know that I was in Quattro, I'm literally starting from scratch.
Yeah.
Like it's zero. How are people going to react to me? And you know what? From day one, we had sold out houses everywhere I went, everywhere.
Wow.
It was amazing actually because you start doing those houses with 1,000 people, and I went like within 3 months I was doing 10,000.
That's unheard of. I mean, there's artists that have been
Yeah,
around for, you know, 15, 20 years that still can't sell more than 1,000 tickets.
yeah. No, I'm saying like I always say, it's a blessing. I can never say, yeah, I did it all by myself. I mean, I
Right.
think it's the blessing. It comes from up above.
To have that kind of to gain that kind of momentum early on, especially as a solo artist, um, was that did you have a song that was on the radio or did you have a song that was doing really well? Like how did or was it all just word of mouth? Like, oh man, you guys got to check this dude out. He's rad.
No, we had a lot of songs playing on the radio, and again, I have to refer back to where our music was when major, like quick fast, which was Cape Verde, Angola, Mozambique. Like we were
Mhm.
mainstream artists out there. In Portugal, for example, I was still doing clubs in Holland, and I traveled like USA and Europe, but it was mostly like still in the thousands, 1,500 range, the
Mhm.
people, and no songs on the radio. It was just word of mouth, and you know that we didn't have Spotify back then even. it's
Oh
like
yeah, sure.
it's like CDs. I mean, but we did the business. We did the business. We had our own label. We did the distribution. We did the selling. With my first solo album, I literally sold 7,000 CDs in one day by signing each and every CD. You know how many hours that was?
Oh my gosh.
No, but we've always, like, I've always had that hustler spirit in me, where back in the days, our music, a lot of labels didn't touch it. They were
Mhm.
like, eh. So we needed to learn everything by ourselves. I learned everything. I learned to write, to compose, to mix our own songs because we didn't have money to distribution, to become in the business. Now I don't do everything anymore, but I know how to do everything. Understand? It's like
Yeah. I mean, talk about
that.
having, I mean, that's nowadays, that's kind of what you need to do if you're a younger artist, right? You have to know how to do everything because it's hard to get that support and get people to back you and get behind you. And you have a lot of artists now that have to get that TikTok song or a Spotify playlist on something maybe they did by their own, by themselves before anyone is willing to even talk to them, right? I mean, it's such a
Yeah,
different
exactly.
world.
Well, TikTok is a big tool, man. It's a huge tool these days. A lot of songs are broken on TikTok, and I'm like, I never heard this song. And like,
Right.
I have kids. They be singing the songs. Like, where did you hear this? On TikTok. So it's a different generation,
I have a
man.
teenager as well, and that's he'll bring me artists. I'm like, who is this? And it's some TikTok song, or I'll
Exactly.
play a song, and he'll be like, oh, that song was popular on TikTok like 8 months ago. I'm like, oh, I'm a
Exactly.
loser.
Exactly.
I'm
Now
late.
It's just a generation, man.
Yeah, doing those solo shows. I mean, being in the background with Quattro, and although you were the lead singer, one of the lead singers, having to go out and kind of entertain the crowd and maybe do banter in between songs. Was that? I mean, that must have been a hard kind of thing to start off with, or did you just kind of have to put it aside and say, you know what, here it is. I'm going to just go all out and try to do what I can do.
You know what my luck was? My luck. The beauty of it, let me put it this way, the beauty
Uh-huh.
of it that people really, really, really loved my album.
Okay.
So my show, from day one, people would sing from the beginning to the end. So it's almost like a snowball effect.
Uh-huh.
You gain like that superpower from that first show. Like wow. And then the next show, again, the same vibe. So on the third show, you're like, okay, I got this, you know.
Yeah, I know, 100%. And so with this new album, what I was reading about it is this has been like a 10-year process, right? You've been working on it for 10 years. Is that what I saw? Or I mean, that's kind of
No,
8 years ago is
no,
when you started the solo endeavor.
no.
Okay.
Let me explain.
Okay.
When I started, um, I I'm very much into R&B and hip hop.
Okay.
You know,
Hmm.
then comes this genre called Zouk, which is called Kizomba, which you know is that danceable sound.
Hmm.
The reason my sound became so popular is I made a fusion of those two. I use a lot of hip hop elements. I use a lot of hip hop and R&B elements, and a lot of in my productions, and also in the ways that I sing, in the ways that I do my harmonies. So basically, that today is the Afrobeat of today. The
Mm.
Afrobeat of today is that dope, cool sound that everybody's messing with. So for me, it's like, wow, yes, we are finally here. This is the album that I did today. That if I could do what the Afrobeat artists are doing today back then, it wouldn't work because the
Hmm.
people weren't ready for that sound. Now I feel like this is the album I wanted to make 10 years ago, but now I can make it now because the world is ready. You know what I'm
Oh, I
saying?
see. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
The world is ready. The world, sound wise, the world is ready. We got the Burner Boys, the Whiz Kids, and everybody doing like all these sounds. Because when Burner Boy came out, I was like, wow, this could have been me. This song right here. One of the songs that they did with Kelpie Vibes is On the Low. And I worked with Kelpie Vibes on this album right here. Because of that song, I was like, bro, that sound would have been perfect for me. You
Hmm.
understand? But the world wasn't ready. And luckily, you know, now the world is. So now I'm tapping right into what's going on.
Yeah,
Hitting up all the
you were set
producers.
yourself up. You already knew like this is a sound I love, and then it became
Yes.
I got it.
Now
Okay.
it's mainstream. That's what I meant when I say this the album like I wanted to do 10 years ago. I've been working on for 10 years.
Okay.
Because
Yeah, I
on
wasn't
all
sure
my
if it was like an
albums, I
idea.
implemented on all my albums, last three albums, I implemented a little bit of that Afro sound to it, a little bit,
Mhm.
just to see how people would react. You understand? And now it's like now I'm not trying anymore. So it should be full gas going.
Yeah, that's interesting. Just because you kind of knew, you're like, I love this sound. I know this sound is something that can work, and then it eventually kind of caught on. Like you're way ahead of the curve.
Yeah, but that was kind of like a problem also because in 2018 I already went to South Africa to work with a producer called Maporisa.
Mhm.
I put them on my mixtape in the mixtape came out in 2019, and that song only became viral in 21, and it's
Oh
today
wow.
it's my most streamed song today. On a
Yeah.
weekly basis, it's like because now the world knows. You understand?
Was that weird for you to see? I mean, having the song out from 2018 and then 5 years later, 4 years later, whatever it may be, like it just starts doing really well. Are you like, whoa, what's going on right now?
It is weird. It is weird indeed because I didn't exactly ask myself what's going on. I just, do you still hear me? Sorry.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Okay.
Okay.
Because I put the so on silent telephone.
Oh.
It is weird in a good way, man. To to see that the vision I had like 4 or 5 years ago, it's hitting off now. Goes to show that I need to follow my gut way more. And the reason I didn't is because when I would present that to the labels here, they would say, this the radio won't play this. They just didn't know what to do with it.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of demotivates you.
Right.
It demotivated me, but I won't let that happen again. Trust me.
Well, you knew, right? You knew way ahead of time, like this is gonna work, I promise. And then of course, it happens. I mean, that's so amazing.
Yeah.
So going into this album, you knew like I know exactly what I'm gonna do. I know I'm just gonna go all into the sound I knew was gonna work 10 years ago.
Yeah, 100%. But this album that we have coming out right now, I have it done like a year ago.
Oh, wow. Okay. So when
So
do you start
now,
working on Black Butterfly? I did read, you're talking about Teddy Riley worked with Michael Jackson.
2
We spoke
years
about that.
ago, 2 years
Yeah,
ago.
you went to a writing camp. You said he brought you to a writing camp or something?
Yeah, 2 years ago. We started 2 years ago. That was actually the first, because every time I do an album, it's like first you're trying to search for what's next. What am I doing next? What's the sound? What's the wave? Which wave are we going in?
Mm-hmm.
And I had already like 4 to 5 songs, which I was like, okay, this is nice, but is this the way? And then from that camp came this song. And that's when I was like, okay, this is the way. So that Black Butterfly is also the title name of my album, because that was the song that put me in the direction of where I was going. So all the other songs actually build around that one song.
Oh, interesting.
Black Butterfly. Yeah.
And that one came out of that writing camp. So like
exactly.
at these writing camps, like do you work individually and then you kind of get in a group and everyone voices their, opinions on the song? Or like, yeah, how does that work?
It was my first writing camp, so I didn't know exactly how that worked. Because first of all, I was called to that writing camp to write for somebody else.
Oh, okay.
Me in that period of time, I almost never do that because I'm always busy with my own music.
Yeah,
but at that period in time, I was like, you know what? I'm still searching. I don't know what I'm doing yet. I don't have nothing to do. Let's go. The beauty of it is Teddy really, really, really liked me. And each and every song that we would make as a group, because you have different rooms and you'd be jumping from room to room, listening, vibing, and if you can contribute, you contribute. Mm-hmm. Now, this was happening in my room. I had 2 songwriters with me, and once we had the song finished, we showed it to Teddy. And Teddy looked at me because the demo, another artist, he sung it just as a demo. And Teddy looked at me and was like, you should sing this. This song should be yours. Me, this whole time, I'm thinking we are making music for somebody else.
Right. You went there to write for somebody else. And now you created this song.
You should sing this. So what I did, I recorded the song. And I recorded 2 more songs. And each song that I recorded, which still I think is not for me, he was like, you should keep this. You should keep this. You should do this. You understand? That's how it started rolling. I started feeling like, okay, maybe I should do this.
Yeah. You're getting co-signed by this massive, legendary guy. And
exactly, because he really, really liked my sound. He loved my voice. And he was like, this voice is so unique. To hear that from somebody that did Michael Jackson is like, oh, yeah, we're doing this.
So you go there and you leave with 3 songs, or is Black Butterfly the one you're like, okay, we're going to go with this?
I left with 3 songs, but I only kept Black Butterfly, which I felt was more in line of where I wanted to go. The other ones were nice songs, but yeah, not for me.
I'm curious to know, like, so when you were writing that and it was meant to be for someone else, were they bummed out? You're like, actually, I'm going to take this.
It's happened quite a few times in the past. And it even became a trick for me back in the days. When you start a writing process and you think, you know what, I'm going to write for whoever. You write different. You write different. Right. And then you record it. you're trying to record it for that person. And then when it's finished, I lay it there. There was no artist. It's just me in my mind saying I'm doing it for.
Yeah.
And then it's like, hey, you know what? It's nice. Let's keep this.
You're like, well, because you're in the mindset of like, what would
Exactly.
you know, what sound would work for this person, right? And then you're like, wait a minute, this is really my song. I'm going to take it.
Dope. And on another event, it was more like somebody had a song and they asked me to write it for a girl.
Mm-hmm.
But the song was so dope. The song is called Something Good. It's one of my albums. The reason it got on my album, I recorded the song, I sent it to the producer that sent it to me, and he was like, whoa, no, I'm not sending this to the girl anymore. You should keep it.
That's so good.
So I kept it, you know?
Yeah. So when you leave with this song, do you end up working with Teddy on the whole album, or was that just the only song that you guys? Okay.
No. That's a whole nother story. I mean, they were setting something up in Cape Verde. At the end of the day, I think Teddy didn't stay in Cape Verde. He went on to different projects. So I did speak to him a few more times. Are you still on that project? And he was like, no, I'm not. And then I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go do it in my own way again. So I didn't continue to work with him. We do have contact, and he's a very nice guy, man. I mean,
Yeah.
I can always reach out to for ideas or for opinions or stuff,
So once you get back and okay, this song has sparked something where I'm going to build around it to make my album. How are you just cranking out songs at that point, or was it kind of a long process?
From that camp, there were different songwriters there. There was this one guy called J Soul who actually got me on the camp. So shout out to J Soul for that. Who is also a big songwriter, did a lot with Teddy and them. And there was another songwriter called Dacom, another songwriter called Errol Benjamin. Now Dacom's worked with Chris Brown, Errol Benjamin's worked with Beyonce. This is the room. Now we connected immediately. There were a lot of other songwriters in the room, but we connected immediately. So when I heard their craft and I saw what they did, I was like, I want to use these guys to work with me on my new album. Especially Dacom, actually 50 or 60% of my album I wrote with Dacom.
Oh, wow.
Who is a super dope, super fast songwriter, super fresh. So the assignment was this: listen to my old songs, listen to what I do now, listen to what I've done. I want us to take Nelson Freitas 2.0. Like, I don't want to lose my essence, but I need to come different. It took a few months before we finally hit the studio, but I got him here to Portugal. We did a week sessions, and we got 5 songs out of that.
Wow.
Like quick, fast. So that was also really good from the camp. It's like everything happens for a reason,
Yeah, not only did you get the title track to the album, but you met these other people that you ended up working with on the album.
Exactly.
Wow. And so, well, you released a song, I think late last year, earlier last year. And I think is Hero, correct? Is that on the album, or was that just a single that you had put out prior?
That is on the album. That's the first single off the album. I released it in October. Now I released one last week. I'm releasing another one in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and then the album comes straight with it.
Awesome. Are you doing like a tour to support the album? I know you're planning. Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, so yeah, we are. First of all, I'm doing some release parties. We're doing one in Portugal, straight with the album release. Then I'm going to Angola. Then I go to Cape Verde. Then I go to USA.
Wow.
Those are the places where we what we used to kick off the album.
Mm-hmm.
And every time I release a single and the next single, like the shows, they just come in. So we build our tour around the shows that come in.
Like
You know,
demand.
we have a lot of connections already throughout the world over the years.
Sure.
So we already can define who are the players that we want to work with. So, you know, the tour is built around that. And then, you know, the summer is always like the summer, you know. Summer starts in May out here. So the shows are gonna, thank God, I hope for God they're gonna pour in. And then it's just a question of setting it in an agenda that it makes sense and that it's doable. That's how it's been going over the past years. Like we don't sit and okay, now we're gonna plan. It's based off of connection, based off what's coming in, and based off should I do this one? Should I not do this one? Is this a good one? Is this not a good one? Or is this gonna take me anywhere further? Yeah, then let's do this. You know, it's all strategic.
Yeah. That's cool. That's such a great place to be in, obviously. I mean, to be able to have all these offers come in and you can kind of pick and choose what's going to be the best for you versus like just hoping that someone or trying to plan out this whole thing. Okay, I've got to do all these dates and hopefully people are going to show up. Like you've kind of been able to make a name for yourself in the way where you can build it around what you want to do in your schedule.
Well, yeah, I mean, but that's experience, man. It's the
Yeah,
years of
100%.
experience, and yeah, it's a blessing. It's definitely a blessing.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. Well, Nelson, I appreciate your time. I mean, with this album is obviously you've got two songs from it out now. Is that kind of the vibe for the whole record, or is there a song on there that you like was super special to you?
Um, the next single is going to be special.
Okay.
I mean, they're all special, you know.
Sure.
All
Yeah,
the
it's kind of a
songs, all
weird
the songs
question.
has got a vibe because I chose 12 songs on the album, but
Mhm.
I made about 20 something tracks. I mean,
Oh, wow.
these are the ones that made it. They have a special feeling for me because when you make all these songs, it's like I keep listening to them like on a daily basis, and if I don't want to listen to one song anymore, it's off. It's off the rest. It's not going on. It's like it didn't catch my
Okay.
attention long enough.
Sure.
So these songs are all special, and you know some more special than the other ones, of course.
Mhm.
But the more special ones are the singles.
Okay.
So
That's
yeah.
awesome. And you grew up, you know, kind of watching your uncle DJ, and that's where was kind of an intro to you. Is that a process just even picking once you've realized what okay, these are the songs that are gonna make the album, like putting them in order as far as like a track listing goes, is that a process you enjoy?
Definitely, because it's something that we do here, internal in the house.
Mhm.
Me, my kids, my wife.
Oh,
Okay,
cool. Everyone
what's
gets
number one?
together.
Everybody gets together, like we're listening. And it's like what feels natural. You know, you take the beginnings and the endings of the song. If the
Mhm.
ending is abrupt, does it go? The next song starts slow. You know, it's like it's a whole process, but it's a beautiful process. You know, it's like it's almost like okay, the job is done, and
Mhm.
this is just you know getting ready for the album for the release of it. And then even the cover, I mean, I made like 3 or 4 different covers for this album. Uh,
Really?
and I chose one. Even on the mixes, when I do the mixing of my song, I try to find a certain sound. And I did like, imagine I did once or 2 songs. I had the mix by 3 different guys
Oh, wow.
who was giving me that sound that I really want for this album.
Mhm. Is
But I
that
pay
per
everybody.
song?
You know,
Yeah.
it's like I pay them. Yeah, they're paying you for your job. It's not like do an experience and then no, it's not going
Yeah.
to be you. No, you got your job done. If it's
Sure.
coming out or not, it's something else.
Right. But do you do that for all? Did you do that for all the songs on the record? You had multiple mixes,
No.
or just
You
the
try to
full
find
album?
one certain sound,
Got it.
for the
Okay.
album. So I picked like one or two strong songs, like Black Butterfly, for example, and I did like the mix with three different people just to see who's gonna give me that warm, nice sound.
Got it. Okay.
And actually, that's the guy who makes my whole album.
Wow, that's a cool process. I've never heard anyone talk about that
Yeah,
before.
it's called Paul Lafray from Holland, actually.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you again, Nelson, for doing this, man. I appreciate your time. I'm looking forward to the album. I like the 2 songs that you've put out this far. And I have one
Thank
more
you.
question for you. I want to know if you have any advice for aspiring artists.
Definitely put in the work, you know. Don't try to become a celebrity overnight, especially these days. Everything is super fast. People think you have one song on TikTok and you're all of a sudden you're a celebrity. No, put in the work, you know. No shortcuts. Like go all the way, like study, like do everything. Do everything. It's gonna help you in the long run. Otherwise, it's gonna be all these one day flies, which we have a lot. Put in the work, love what you do, read about it, study, you know, do the work.